Welcome. This training program was developed by the Alzheimer's Association's Center for Dementia Respite Innovation. It is intended for any staff member or volunteer providing respite care to older adults in community-based care settings as well as in long-term care environments. The program is designed to inform and empower respite care providers who support individuals and families affected by Alzheimer's disease and other dementia. Whether participants are new to the field or seeking to deepen their approach, this session offers practical strategies to help bring greater meaning to the moments they share with those in their care. The goal of the program is to help providers infuse purpose into every aspect of their work, ensuring that the individuals they support feel valued, engaged, and connected. During the session, participants will explore why purpose and meaning are essential to the well-being of individuals living with dementia, how to transform respite programs into spaces of connection, dignity, and joy, practical tools and assessments to better understand each person's life story and create authentic opportunities for engagement. Over 7 million Americans are currently living with Alzheimer's or other dementia. Nearly 12 million Americans provide unpaid care for a family member or friend with dementia. As the size of the U.S. population aged 65 and older continues to grow, so too will the number and proportion of Americans with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Alzheimer's is progressive, and care needs will increase over time, meaning that caregivers will need additional support. Use of respite care by dementia caregivers has increased substantially. As the number of individuals living with dementia and their caregivers continues to grow, it's essential that respite services are available and accessible to those who need them. To live with purpose means to unlock our story, our gifts, and our curiosity. That quote from Richard Leider captures the essence of this training's message. Having a sense of purpose in daily life is essential to a person's well-being, regardless of age or stage of life. A diagnosis of dementia does not diminish the fundamental human need for meaning. Individuals continue to seek what has sustained them throughout their lives, a sense of contribution, identity, and connection. Purpose provides individuals with a reason to engage with the world around them. It serves as a source of motivation and energy. When activities are aligned with a person's identity, history, preferences, and interests, it helps them reconnect with a deeper sense of purpose. Even if an activity may not seem purposeful to others, what matters is its significance to the individual living with dementia. This is why meaningful engagement is so important. It goes beyond simply keeping someone occupied or passing the time. It is about nurturing the very core of who they are. When purpose is intentionally built into care, individuals receive more than just a way to pass the time. They are offered value, pride, meaning, self-worth, and a sense of accomplishment. These are fundamental elements that every person deserves, regardless of cognitive ability. Each of these words, value, pride, meaning, self-worth, and accomplishment, represents more than just feel-good concepts. They are essential components of well-being for people living with dementia, each playing a vital role in helping individuals feel whole, connected, and human. Value. Everyone deserves to feel valued. When individuals are given real opportunities to contribute, even in small ways, it affirms that they still matter. It reinforces the importance of their presence and acknowledges their continued significance. Moment for reflection. Think of a time when someone made you feel like you matter. What did they do or say? How might you offer that same affirmation to someone in your care? Pride. Pride arises from engaging in activities that reflect one's identity and bring enjoyment. Individuals living with dementia can still experience pride when they accomplish something, assist others, or participate in familiar and satisfying tasks, even when support is needed. These moments affirm their abilities and reinforce their sense of self. Moment for reflection. Think of something you did recently that made you feel proud, even if it was small. What contributed to that feeling? And how could you help someone else experience that same sense of accomplishment and pride? Meaning connects the dots in a person's life. It transforms ordinary routines into intentional rituals and simple tasks into rich, memorable experiences. For individuals living with dementia, meaning becomes even more vital. It acts as an emotional anchor amid cognitive uncertainty. In the face of memory loss or confusion, a meaningful moment might be sparked by a familiar song, the scent of a favorite meal, or the warmth of a loved one's touch. These moments resonate deeply, creating emotional clarity, even if only briefly, and reminding individuals of who they are beyond their diagnosis. Meaning helps preserve identity, fosters connection, and brings dignity to daily life. It is not about grand gestures, but about intentionality. A walk in the garden becomes a sensory journey. Folding towels becomes a way to contribute. A shared story becomes a bridge between past and present. In caregiving, when activities are infused with meaning, the goal is not merely to fill time, it is to enrich lives. Moment for reflection. What everyday activity holds deep meaning for you? Maybe because of a memory, ritual, or person connected to it. How can you offer similarly meaningful moments to someone living with dementia? Self-worth. Dementia can gradually erode a person's confidence and sense of independence. However, when individuals living with dementia are included in decision-making or invited to contribute, it helps rebuild their self-worth. These opportunities allow them to feel capable, respected, and seen. Moment for reflection. Think of a time when you felt a deep sense of self-worth, not because of what you accomplished, but simply because of who you are. What contributed to that feeling? How might you help a person living with dementia recognize their own self-worth today? Accomplishment. Success is not defined by perfection. It is about feeling good about what has been accomplished. Small victories, such as folding towels, watering plants, or sharing a memory, can create a powerful sense of achievement. For someone living with dementia, these moments of success are meaningful. They help restore confidence, reinforce self-worth, and leave a lasting emotional imprint. Moment for reflection. Success doesn't always mean finishing something big. Think of a small win that made you feel good. How can you redefine success in your work with people who need support and flexibility? When thinking about engagement, ask yourself, what can they do? Find activities that connect with their interests or past experiences. Don't overcomplicate it. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be uplifting and doable. Let's talk about a simple but powerful example: the gift of coupons, which leads us to the story of Mario. Let me tell you about Mario. Mario had spent his life working with his hands. As a mason and business owner, he laid bricks, built structures, and took pride in his independence and leadership. He was used to being in charge, but by the time he arrived at the adult day center, things had changed. His daughter, now his primary caregiver, was struggling. She shared her concerns. "I can't get him to connect to anything. He doesn't think he needs help, and he's so focused on what he's lost." On Mario's first day, staff weren't sure the program would be a good fit. He sat off to the side, disengaged, unwilling to talk or participate, showing no interest in the activities around him. Still, his daughter pleaded for another chance. "Please," she said, "just one more day." The next day, staff tried a different approach. One team member walked up to Mario and said, "Hey Mario, would you mind helping me with something? I've got a deadline and I'm really behind." Mario raised an eyebrow. "What kind of help?" he asked. "Well, we've got this WIC office down the hall. It's a program for women and children, and we've been clipping coupons for them. But I'm running behind and I could really use an extra pair of hands." Mario didn't say much that day, but he sat down and began clipping. From that moment on, he came to the adult day center every day for 5 years. Each morning, he would arrive with a smile and say, "I allow myself 1 cup of coffee, then it's time to get to work." And work he did. Over the years, Mario clipped, sorted, and helped deliver thousands of coupons to the WIC office down the hall. The staff there would thank him warmly. "Mario, this is such a help." And he could see it: the bins, the categories, the women flipping through and taking what they needed. He saw the impact of his efforts. This wasn't a made-up task. It was real help, and Mario knew it. This accomplishment gave him value, pride, and meaning, which led to self-worth. Had someone told Mario earlier in life that he'd one day spend his days clipping coupons, he likely would have had a few choice words. But this simple task came to mean something deeply important. Even as his dementia progressed and he began clipping barcodes or just pictures, the staff didn't stop bringing him coupons. They simply brought expired ones. Mario continued to work with his hands, to feel useful, and to show up day after day. What's the lesson here? It wasn't about inventing something grand. It was about giving someone a chance to help in a real, meaningful way. Mario didn't need busy work. He needed purpose. The term person-centered care is often heard, featured in training programs, brochures, and mission statements. But without thoughtful application, it risks becoming just another buzzword. True person-centered care goes far beyond honoring preferences or routines. It involves taking the time to truly understand each individual's story, who they were long before they entered care. It means learning what mattered to them, what brings them joy, what causes frustration. It's not about creating a schedule for them, but about designing a day with them in mind. This approach to care is deeply individualized. It demands curiosity, creativity, and compassion. At times, it requires stepping outside the usual toolbox to meet someone where they are, not where others might wish they were. The goal isn't simply to keep someone occupied. The goal is to honor their identity, to promote dignity through choice, even as memory and language fade, to offer moments that feel familiar, empowering, or simply joyful. So when the term person-centered is used, it should be with intention. It should reflect a commitment to discovering what makes each person unique and to finding ways, even small ones, to reflect that back to them every single day. There are many tools available to assess a person's physical and mental needs, and those tools are undeniably important. However, when developing a care plan or designing a meaningful day, the starting point should not be the diagnosis, but the individual. Who are they? Who were they as a teenager, a young adult, a parent, a professional? What made them laugh? What brought them pride? This is where a participant bio becomes essential. It doesn't need to be complex or costly. A simple Word document, PowerPoint slide, or printed sheet can serve the purpose. In systems with electronic health records, there's often a designated space to include this kind of personal information. The Alzheimer's Association has a free Get to Know Me form that you can use as well. The key is to focus the first page of the bio on identity, not symptoms or behaviors, but the life that has been lived. While it's helpful to begin with their adult years, it's equally important not to overlook adolescence, a time that often reveals deep insights into a person's interests and sense of self.
Equally important as creating a bio is applying it. You'll get the most from this tool by putting it into practice.
Too often, meaningful documents are created and then filed away, never to be referenced again. A missed opportunity. For example, reading one participant bio each morning during a team huddle can help staff connect more deeply with those they support. It reinforces the individual's full humanity and can offer new ideas for engagement, especially on challenging days. The guiding principle is simple. Start with the person, not the paperwork, not the chart, not the checklist. Start with the human being. Now that the process of identifying who the person is has begun, the next step is to understand what they enjoy and how they engage best. This is where person-centered care truly begins to take shape. Every participant engages with the world in their own unique way. Some thrive in group settings, while others respond better to one-on-one interactions. Some are drawn to music or movement. Others are more visual or tactile learners. These preferences don't disappear with a dementia diagnosis. They simply need to be rediscovered. Care teams can ask themselves, what makes this person light up? What hobbies or activities did they gravitate toward before dementia? How do they respond to different types of interaction? Calm versus energetic, structured versus spontaneous? By exploring these questions, caregivers can begin to tailor experiences that resonate with each individual, helping them feel more connected, engaged, and understood. Up to this point, the focus has been on understanding who the person is, their life story, interests, how they engage, and what brings them purpose. Now it's time to layer in their physical and wellness needs. This includes identifying the type of support they require with mobility, hygiene, eating, and medications, those essential daily living tasks that can either support or hinder participation. It's important to ask, do they prefer to walk or use a wheelchair? Do they become overwhelmed by too much stimulation? Are there specific routines that help them feel safe or comfortable? What medications might affect their energy levels or behavior throughout the day? These needs are real and have a direct impact on engagement. However, they should not define the entire care plan. That's why they are considered only after understanding the person's identity and preferences. Too often, a person's file begins and ends with a diagnosis, a list of medications, and a fall risk assessment. While all of that information is essential, it tells nothing about who the person truly is or what they need to thrive. As care teams reflect on how to better support individuals and create truly meaningful engagement, it begins with one essential question. Who is this person? Not just their diagnosis, behaviors, or care needs, but who they are. What did they love? What roles have they played in life? What gives them a sense of identity, pride, or joy? This information can be gathered from a variety of sources: formal assessments, conversations with caregivers or family members, and most importantly, direct conversations with the individual, even if they can only share small pieces. Once grounded in who the person is, the next question becomes, why? Why might this activity matter to them? Why would this interaction be meaningful? Does it connect to something they value or remember? Will it offer a role, a sense of accomplishment, or a moment of comfort? And finally, how? How can this be implemented in a way that supports their abilities? How can the approach be adjusted to meet them where they are? How can the experience be made not just successful, but purposeful? By taking the time to ask who, why, and how, care shifts from simply offering activities to creating meaningful engagement. It moves from filling time to honoring time, from providing care to building connection. Key elements for meaningful engagement. 1. Choice. Offering individuals choices empowers them and respects their autonomy. When people can choose how they spend their time, engagement becomes more personal and motivating. Choice reduces frustration and promotes dignity, especially important to those with cognitive challenges. 2. Meaning and purpose. Engagement becomes meaningful when it connects to a person's interests, history, or values. Activities should reflect what matters to the individual, whether it's creative expression, social connection, or completing a task, to foster a sense of purpose and identity. 3. Variety. A mix of activities prevents boredom and stimulates different senses and cognitive skills. Balancing physical, mental, social, and restful experiences keeps engagement dynamic and holistic, while accommodating changes in energy and attention. 4. Time. It should be allotted thoughtfully, enough for individuals to participate without feeling rushed or fatigued, but not so long that they lose focus. Pacing activities to match individual needs and allowing natural transitions supports comfort and sustained engagement. 5. Space. The environment plays a crucial role. Spaces should be safe, accessible, and suited to the activity, whether it requires focus or social interaction. Familiar or personalized environments increase comfort, while calm spaces help reduce overwhelm. 6. Success. Activities should be achievable and rewarding, offering a sense of accomplishment. Success builds confidence and motivation, encouraging continued participation and positive emotional experiences. 7. Preparation. Meaningful engagement requires thoughtful planning. This includes knowing the individual's preferences, abilities, and needs, and having materials or support ready. Preparation also involves training caregivers or facilitators to adapt activities and provide encouragement. Everything discussed so far can be implemented at little to no cost. While having a generous activity budget is certainly helpful, it is by no means required to create meaningful engagement. However, there are important considerations that can impact the success of engagement efforts. Staffing challenges. Staff may lack the confidence or skills to facilitate meaningful activities, particularly when supporting individuals with complex needs. Strategies to address this include providing ongoing training focused on meaningful engagement, communication techniques,
and dementia-related behaviors.
ensuring staff schedules allow adequate time to prepare and carry out activities without feeling rushed. Utilizing volunteers to supplement staff and bring fresh energy and variety to engagement efforts. Fostering a positive work environment to reduce burnout and improve staff retention. Cross-train team members so multiple staff can lead activities and support engagement consistently. Environmental factors. The physical environment plays a significant role in engagement. To make the environment successful, eliminate excessive noise, poor lighting, cluttered or unsafe spaces, or a lack of privacy. Cultural or language differences. Activities should be inclusive and culturally responsive, including language preferences and personal values, which will ensure that individuals feel seen, respected, and connected. Everything done in respite care should reflect one core belief. This is more than just passing time. The goal is not simply to keep individuals busy, it's to make their time meaningful, because every moment still matters. Care teams are encouraged to ask, are individuals being offered real choices? Are they involved in their own care decisions, even in small ways? Are there opportunities for them to help or contribute? Are their voices being heard, or are assumptions being made about their needs? Most importantly, do they feel valued? These questions help shift the focus from basic activity programming to real purposeful engagement.
This kind of approach is what restores dignity, the feeling that I still have a say in my life.
And offers individuals a renewed sense of purpose, even as their independence changes. Purposeful engagement might look like inviting someone to hand out napkins at lunch, help fold towels, choose the music for the day, or welcome a new participant. These may seem like small acts, but when done with intention, they carry deep meaning. When individuals feel needed, included, and offered real roles rather than passive activities, they come alive, and the impact goes beyond the participants. When these values are prioritized, the entire environment begins to shift for staff, families, and caregivers alike. The culture transforms into one rooted in respect, joy, and purpose. So the ongoing question becomes, are we honoring their time? Are we creating moments that matter? Because that's where dignity lives. This concludes the Creating Connection, Meaningful Engagement in Respite Environments training program.
The development of this training was made possible through the generous support and collaboration of the Center for Dementia Respite Innovation's partners at the University of Minnesota, U.S. Aging, and TIA Salceda.
For additional information or support related to Alzheimer's and dementia, please contact the Alzheimer's Association's 24/7 helpline at 800-272-3900. Thank you for your time and attention.